What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. I'm coming at you tonight with a WIP and chat. WIP stands for work in progress. And right now I am working on Teffy from Diamond Art Club. Let's see if I can get you a picture here of Miss Teffy. Let's see. It's been a minute. She's probably somewhere close to the back. If not in the very back. There we are. Right here she is. Look at her. Looking all summery and gorgeous. Reminds me of some sort of fae or dryad creature. And we enjoy that. I started her on the 13th of August. She is what I am working on tonight. And then just really quickly, before I get too far in, my name's Naomi. Again, welcome back or welcome to the channel. For those of you who are new subscribers, thank you so much for hitting that subscribe button. It's so interesting once you get past 1,000 subscribers to watch the numbers continue to change. It's honestly more than I ever expected, and I am grateful to every single one of you. So thank you to any of the new subscribers, and thanks to those of you who've been sticking around with me. I almost feel like calling these WIP and chats like weekly therapy sessions, because that tends to be what they feel like for me anyways. I don't know about for you guys, but anyway, I usually start off the first half and I talk a little bit about my week and what I've been doing, and then I finish up usually with sharing an oracle card, and then we apply that to our week, or at least I do. You can let me know how you've been applying the oracle cards to your week, but I want to get right into it. I'll just talk very quickly, briefly about my tools and what I've got going on. Like I said, I am working on Teffy from Diamond Art Club. It is a round. She is a 51 by 71. This is an older retired archived kit. So this is something you could probably find on a D-stash. I've seen her a few times, but not one that you can get from Diamond Art Club anymore. I am using my Craftmates container. This is what I usually use when I work on rounds, because it has 56 spots in it. I love these things. This one is actually 58 colors, but 2 of them were ABs. So I just have the ABs like in here separate, and I just take them out when I need them. I am kind of, as I'm going along, deciding if I want to add additional things. Like looking back, I had a frog in my little throat. Looking back at the picture, you know, sometimes I'll decide like, ooh, that could really use some fairy dust in those flowers or in her crown or whatever. And then I may decide to do nothing and just keep it how it is. Like I have so far, I've just left it alone. Anyways, all of that to say, working on Teffy with Craftmates. I have my Firefly tray here. It is the Switch Mini Max from Firefly. You can go to fireflyda.com to pick up a Firefly tray. This one runs about 20 bucks. It's actually fairly inexpensive, and it's pretty interesting. So it's got this slide-on lid. There's a little groove in there. You slide it on and off. It has a very nice, deep little tray here. The size is perfect for my big old man hands, so that's nice. It has a removable trash tray that I think is really cool, and then it has a feature here with this hole you can stick your pen in, and it doesn't roll away on you. I don't use it very much, but to each their own. And then the pour spout is actually, it looks like a whistle on the back, but the pour spout, you can open and close it. I love that part because I don't have any diamonds just flying out on me. My pen is from Black Wolf Woodworks. Yes, I would normally be using one of my own that I've turned, one of my intention pens, but I mentioned earlier during my live that my hands have really been bothering me today. I have carpal tunnel, especially in the right hand, and so I use a fat chunky pen, and I need to really make me my own fat chunky pen, but This one is bigger than mine, so I use this one when my hands are bothering me. In my thin metal multiplacer from Diamond Art Club, I have my Putty Crockers Boutique Drunk Cupid. And then in my single placer, I am using my Ghost. This is from Diamond Painting Daily. That's their little symbol, so you know you've got the right place on Etsy. Putty Crocker's also on Etsy. This runs about $11 and it's going to last me forever and ever and ever because I use it in my single placer, and it essentially, you put it in there, it's wet. You let it dry, it goes from white to clear, and then it creates a glue dot for you, which is really cool. I was actually going to try an experiment at one point where I take some of it out, I put it out on a, piece of plastic or whatever and let it dry, and then in a strip, and then, like use that to poke my pen into and see how that works. But this thing's going to last me forever because you literally use a drop of it to put in a single placer. You can also load a multi-placer with it. I'm going to try that too at one point or another, put this in a multi-placer. I'm a hard placer though, so I have to reload a lot, you know what I'm saying? And then this week, I have actually decided to change up the Oracle cards that I'm using. So I'm actually using this set here. Now, these little funny looking dudes on there might look a little bit familiar to you. Maybe they remind you of the Babe with the power of voodoo. Hoodoo? You do. Do what? Remind you of the Babe. That's because the art on these cards is actually from Brian Froud. Brian Froud is the artist that did all of the conceptual artwork for the movie The Labyrinth, which is probably why I love these cards so much. But this is the Fairies Oracle. I decided to do something a little bit different this time. I believe I used these on my 24-hour live, if I remember correctly. I pulled a card for people and did a reading, and it was actually really fun. Something to, fill the time. But I tried to read and diamond paint at the same time, and that was fun. As in it wasn't. But I'm going to use one of these today. These have divine and reverse meanings, meaning like you have one thing that it means when it's right side up and one thing that it means when it's upside down. So we're going to look at this later. That's the second half. But let me get into the week and tell you what's been up with me, because that was a whole lot of talking about nothing for 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes. So anyways, my week. So I mentioned before to some people that this last Sunday, Dustin wanted to take me on a date. And so we decided to go do that. We went to a place called Lion's Den Gorge, which is in I believe it's Port Washington, or maybe it's Gratiot. I forget the actual town name, but it's near Port Washington. It's on Lake Michigan, in Wisconsin, and we go there pretty often. It is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful place. And he wanted to call it a date so that we could go by ourselves. We didn't have to take the kids. Well, we took one of the kids, named Beans, but we didn't take any of our actual human children with us. And by children, I mean adults, because they're not children. But we just really wanted to go on our own and enjoy each other's company, and just do us, have a conversation in the car, like we like to do, and just spend some time, the two of us. So we did do that on Sunday. I had a fantastic time. I always have a fantastic time when we go out in nature. It's one of my favorite places to be, honestly, is out in nature. And this place, I'm going to be sharing some pictures with you. This place always delivers. It has beautiful stunning views. It has the gorgeous backdrop of Lake Michigan on these sand dune bluffs, and the waves were massive, humongous. But you basically hike up at the top for a short distance, maybe a mile, and then you make your way down these stairs, and you kind of, you know, loop back on yourself a couple of times and get yourself down to the actual beach. And that's Beans' favorite place to go, is down to the beach. He likes to play in the water. He likes to get, you know, smacked around by waves. It's definitely his favorite pastime. He likes to dig in the sand. So he has no hesitation about just jumping in, even when the waves are taller than he is. And it was a full moon, I believe, on Sunday. So the waves were just crashing. It was definitely choppy water. They'd had some rain, so that was contributing. It was a lot going on. But we usually go down there. We like to, one, wear our Wisconsin jean shorts, meaning our pants rolled up, and, you know, kind of wade around ankle deep in the water looking for stones or what have you. And then usually, you know, after letting Beans run around, he'll relax, he'll lay down in the sand, and then we go rock hounding. They have some fantastic stones down in that area. I actually have next to me a bowl of water with some stones in it. Now, why do I have a bowl of water with stones in it? Well, because the stones always look so much cooler when they're wet, which is why we polish stones in the first place, is because they look so cool when they're wet. You can actually see what's inside the stone, you know, like what's there. And there's lots of quartz, lots of granite down there, lots of clay. So we always find at least a couple of good, you know, interesting rocks to bring home. Usually Dustin will put his in with his plants or whatever, in the pots where he, you know, grows all of his succulents and cactuses. And then me, I don't know, mine stay in a bag, and until I can get myself like a rock tumbler, that's kind of where they live. But I've also put them into jars with water in them, because I've got these different, like, plantains, I think they're called. It's a type of a flower. It looks like a lily almost, like a calla lily, but it's not. And they grow just, you can put them, boop, right in some water with rocks. They don't need sand. They will live right off of the water. So I have a whole, like, jars full, and then I have those plants with the jars full of rocks that I've collected from various places. So I've got this bowl of water next to me, but that's because I wanted to show you what the rocks look like when they're wet. So I've also got a towel because I didn't want to get water all over my diamond painting. But a few of my finds was this granite piece. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. There we go. This piece of granite. It has a flat bottom, which I really liked. And in the sun, this thing is so bright orange. But we have a lot of copper and iron deposits in our lakes here, and so that's probably where a lot of the coloration in this granite comes from. But you can see there's bits of quartz in it as well. It is just a really, really cool looking piece of granite. So I got a piece of granite. I found, now this is a piece of quartz, and it is very orange, and like I said, that's because we have so many copper deposits here, but it's a good piece of quartz. Hard to see, but you can actually see through this in the daytime. Doesn't look like much now, but and then I found, okay, I call them finger rocks. This one is a finger rock. I I just like these long finger looking rocks. I don't know why, but I collect them wherever I go. I find these finger rocks. And so this one was really just probably made of clay, but a boogery looking finger rock. I have, oh, this other one. I liked this one a lot because there's a stripe all the way through it. That one's really cool. It's some sort of agate, and then I'm assuming it's quartz and clay, just because that's what the whole area is. But I loved the fact that there was a stripe all the way through it. And then lastly, this area is home to some of the best, world's best skipping stones. And this is one of the flattest rocks I've ever seen. Absolutely, oh, dirt on my hands, but a flat rock, just a flat rock. I will probably at some point decide to paint this rock, but yeah, just a flat rock, a dirty flat rock apparently. But it is also probably made of clay, which is probably why it's getting my hand dirty, because it was just in water. But yeah, so those were a few of the finds that I brought home. And then the other thing that I almost always do when we go is I stack rocks. I usually will end up making a rock stack out of, you know, whatever rocks that I find, and I make some sort of a tower. Well, this time I decided not to do that. I don't know what possessed me. I found this deposit of clay. And first I had this big mound of clay in my hands, and I was playing with it. I was rubbing it all up and down my arms, you know, kind of like sloughing off any dead skin, basically giving myself a clay mask on my hands. And I was playing with clay. Well, then I took the clay. There's this big driftwood log that we always end up at this place. And this time I decided to take the clay and I made something. She's like a water spirit, I guess. I suppose that's what she became. I didn't know what I was making until I got through the process, but that is just what was calling to me out of the clay. Now, I am by no means a sculptor. I don't know how to do human faces, so she ended up looking kind of owl-like, but she's like a guardian of the lake, I guess. I don't know. That's just what I decided to make this time. A water spirit. And so she was really lovely. I liked it. I took pictures. I'm showing you those now. But I enjoyed myself making my little water spirit. It kept me busy for a good hour, probably. Does that look like an hour's worth of work? And it wasn't. But that was because I think I was having more fun just playing in the mud, you know, than anything. But it was good to get out and just be with each other and talk and, you know, get out for the day, enjoy some nice weather, because, you know, before you know it, it'll be cold and, you know, we're not going to be able to leave the house much, so we get out and do things in the summer when we can. But it was a lovely trip. I definitely want to get out there at least a couple of more times before the end of the season, because yeah, we love it there. Absolutely adore it. So that is called Lion's Den Gorge. Very beautiful. What else? I am in the process of pouring more blanks for intention pens. And actually, let me go grab, I'll be right back. One moment. All right, so I grabbed the blank mold that I use, and I'll show you kind of what the intention pens look like in process, right? So I've selected the woods, and then in here you can see that I have different herbs in each section. Some more than others, you know, some are different than others, what have you, but this is at the halfway point. And you can see that obviously I still need to pour more resin in there. So what I do is I start out, I pour resin, I put in each separate one, there are separate herbs, separate intentions happening with each one. This is step one. And I select the herbs that I'm going to use for that particular purpose. And I put the herbs in first. That's essentially like blank side one, right? So I can take one of these out because I can put it right back in here. Because it'll fit. Let me slide one of these out. But you can see on the back side, you can see the herbs that are going into this specific blank. And right now it's only a half blank because I've only poured half the resin. Now the other part of this one side, because you can like actually see through it right now, the other part, once I have poured the second step, will be I put the stones in here because now there's nowhere for them to sink. Otherwise, they would sink straight to the bottom and I would lose all the stones. So I pour the first half, I put in the herbs, I put the stones on, and then I put resin on top of that. And then I will turn them from that point once they're all the way. So like this is walnut, this is ebony, this one is mahogany, and this one is zebra wood. So I know what the herbs in each one are going to do, and then I know what the wood in each one is going to do. And then I make a blank based on all of those things. So that's in progress. You get to see a little behind the scenes what I'm doing with that. So pretty cool. I started that because I have an order currently for one person, and then the other 3 that I'm making will be well, I'll reveal that once I've gotten to that point, what they're for. But those ones will be available for purchase. So I'm going to get some stock together and work on that. And then the next thing that I'm going to be working on will be zodiac pens. That will be stones, herbs, and a wood associated with your particular zodiac. So I'm excited about that. But I was working on, you know, pouring blanks. The whole process takes roughly a week and a half for pouring the blank in both stages and then allowing it to fully cure because it's 5 to 7 days for a full cure. Like it's all the way good to go, whatnot. So yeah, that's it's a process. I have to pour the first resin, and then one of my dogs playing with a toy. I pour the first resin, and then I add the herbs. Like I said, it has to dry and set for 2 days at least, and then I can do the next half so that the resin is hard and the rocks aren't going to just fall straight through. So I let it cure for 2 days, and then I come back and I add the wood, or add the stones rather. The wood's already in there, as you can see, to the blank, and then let that fully cure, and then I can turn it. But that's one thing I was working on this week, was getting my getting some blanks together to begin turning. My father-in-law is in the middle of building I saw it today, it's a beautiful live edge piece of walnut that he's going to make a like a shelf, and it's going to like be an extension of a bay window that they have, where he has a lot of plants up in the bay window, and so it'll be additional tabletop for more plants. So apparently he is just as obsessed as Dustin is, but they leave for Florida, and then, you know, we go over and water the plants or whatever Dustin does once a week or something when they're in Florida. But Yeah, so the father-in-law is just as obsessed, but he's making shelves and stuff to house his. I'm sure Dustin will be on that next, getting more shelves or a new shelf or Lord knows what. Um, but he's been working in the garage and basically told me, like, I've got a project going on. I need the garage to myself. So I haven't been able to turn any blanks, but that's okay because I'm in the middle of the process anyways. It gives him time to finish what he's working on and gives me time to um, get my blanks together and things like that. So no big deal. But oh, and then today before the live and whatever, I went got my nails done. Oh. I was just gonna do the purple, and then these lines were like the designs were actually just white. But then my nail tech, he's a young man. He decided he wanted to add some color to the lines so that they weren't, just boring plain lines. And I guess it felt really summery. Not normally colors I would select for myself, but that's kind of the fun of it, Like I just tell him, you do whatever you want because you're the expert. I am definitely not the expert. And then I just take whatever he does because I have horrible indecision when it comes to getting my nails done. I just sort of blank and I'm like, do something pretty. So I just, I let him do his thing, whatever. I had to ask Bowie to go lay down. She's over there scratching away. But yeah, so, I mean, not a very super eventful week, but mostly it was like just a normal sort of week. I am working on planning things for the channel. I have, excuse me, another member level in mind. Something a little more personal and in-depth. And yeah, I get personal and in-depth during my weekly WIP and chats and in Discord with, like our voice chats in there. But this would be something a little different, a little more personal. My passion project is probably gonna go and live there. There will be things that I will share with general public, but I think some of the more in-depth conversations about those things will be in the next level up. And who knows, maybe nobody cares, maybe nobody will see those, and that's fine. I think it's more cathartic for me anyways to talk about those stories and some of my experiences, some of the like trauma and things that I've experienced. I feel like putting it behind a monetary wall in some senses can feel what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say like dishonest. It's not that. It's just I figure if somebody really wants to know that much about me, not that they need to pay for the privilege, but that it really needs to be a select group. You know what I mean? A smaller group. And I don't think that that level is going to blow sky high or anything like that. But I do feel like there will be people that care, and then there will be people that really don't care. And it will also allow me to keep some of that more personal type stuff off of the general channel. I can still be myself, obviously, but I wouldn't necessarily be sharing as much of myself on the general channel. I just don't think that maybe everybody cares. I think some people, they really just want to hear about diamond painting or, the normal day-to-day, and there is nothing at all wrong with that. And then there's others that want to know more, and I will try and cater to that as well. Insofar as I can, and it isn't putting myself in any kind of danger of, you know, doxing or whatever, that sort of dealy. But I think it will be good. I'm looking forward to it, so I'm making plans about that. I've been working on a lot of editing because I had some batch recording done, and I'm getting those edited and put up, and yeah, those are starting to roll out. So if you're a member, you're already starting to see some of that going up, because members get early access to my videos. So yeah, been working on the channel stuff. Other than that, nothing too terribly exciting about the week. I do want to get into the Fairies Oracle card. One, because I'm excited to get a read from these cards in particular. And then I do want to talk very briefly about the card from last week, which I said I would, you know, talk about in the next week. So last week it was about feeling safe, and I feel like I didn't honestly get any like serious opportunities to apply it. I did try to do a little bit of soul searching about what it was that might have been that I might have been giving power to, or what have you. And I think I've come to the conclusion that, like, I love my in-laws, but I feel like my mother-in-law especially is a busybody. And so I need to have confidence in myself that what I'm doing is right for me. It might not be right for them. And as much as she wants me to work a full-time job and whatnot, that as long as, you know, Dustin is not angry or upset with me about the choices that I'm making, or the job that I have or don't have, that I don't need to placate anyone else. It's really only his opinion that matters as far as that is concerned. And so I think that I'm going to stop worrying so much about what they think, and at a certain point I'm going to have to be open and honest with them about, you know, I appreciate your feedback and I appreciate your opinions, but ultimately this is what I'm doing right now, and I need to feel safe to say that. You know what I mean? I need to bolster my courage, or whatever you want to call it, and just be open and outright and honest about it, because I'm doing myself a disservice by just trying to placate, because that's what I do. I just placate. I'm gonna stop doing that. Let's take a look at our card here. Warning, there might be boobies. I'm not sure, because some of these actually have boobies. So I'm going to flip this one like this, because these have reverse meanings. So let's see what we've got. Ooh, Sylvanius. This is a beautiful card. So we have I'm assuming a male fairy with a mask here. And then there's another fairy with a giant sword. There's like a light bringer fairy in the middle. Some very strange looking fae around the outsides. Like this one looks like he came right out of the labyrinth. Sylvanius. Let's see what Sylvanius means. All right, so I have Sylvanius. It says truth, cutting through deception and clarity. So maybe that mask is the mask of truth. All right. It says, at this time, you are discovering new truths about yourself. They are essential for you to know in order to create relationships based on mutual respect, affection, and trust. These things can only work if we see ourselves and others as we are. Currently, both fairy and this world are functioning as a giant mirror in which we see ourselves in many surprising ways. People tend to dread this because we assume that we are worse than we think we are, but this is far from necessarily true. Now is a time for finding out the false and misleading beliefs you have accepted and discovering that you are a better person than you thought and have the potential to accomplish more than you believed you could. If someone says you are better or simply different than you think you are, don't automatically reject this. Think it over carefully. You have more to give and more to enjoy than you have been giving yourself credit for. Okay, thank you for the compliment, book. um, I have, okay, so I have a rule, right? I have a rule that it's about compliments and being able to accept compliments, because I have notoriously in my life been terrible at accepting compliments. I'm awful at accepting compliments. I get uncomfortable. I don't know what to say. My first response is usually to argue or to say like, "No, I'm not that good at whatever," or "No, I'm not pretty," or arguing with the person who just gave me a compliment. I start talking myself out of believing them. I start, arguing with them and probably making them uncomfortable. Like, well, I just paid this dumb bitch a compliment and I guess I won't be doing that again. So I have a rule, right? If someone pays you a compliment and you reject that compliment and you make them feel like you're telling them that they're wrong, that you owe them 3 compliments about yourself. Now, if I give you a compliment and you reject it, or the other thing has been if you say something kind of shitty about yourself, that you have to pay yourself 3 compliments. And I've employed that like throughout my relationships, right? And for this particular card, I feel like, that there are times where someone will say something to me and it says, people tend to dread this because we assume we are worse than we think we are, but this is far from necessarily true. It's time to find out the false and misleading beliefs you've accepted and discovering that you are a better person than you thought and have the potential to accomplish more than you believed you could. If someone says you are better or simply different than you think you are, don't automatically reject this. Think it over carefully. And there are times where someone will say something to me and I am like, I don't see it, but I guess maybe they do. And sometimes, while I might not reject what they've said outright to them, I'm probably in my head going like, no, I don't, or no, I'm not, or whatever. And I do need to take a little more time to see myself as others see me, and not in a bad way necessarily. And yes, sometimes in a bad way. I need to accept that another person's perspective of me could also be true. It doesn't mean that, that they know me, or that, I've just been living this lie or whatever, but sometimes I might not see a trait in myself that others do see, and I might reject it outright because I don't see it. So I will try to pay a little more attention when that happens, and be a little bit better about allowing both things to be true. and to not reject something that someone says outright, whether it's a compliment or not a compliment, and really seeing that for whatever its value is. I think often I allow others' perspectives of me to really own who I am as a person, to, in a lot of ways, like, get me down. One thing that I've done over the last week, actually, here we go, in feeling safe, right? Because I thought hard about what things I might be putting out there for myself to make me feel unsafe. And I think some of it, actually, as crazy as this is going to sound, came from being subscribed to channels on YouTube of people that I had heard from others were not speaking very kindly about me. Without even knowing me, guys, like without knowing me at all, just knowing me from the channel, not ever having a conversation with me, not once, just popping up on a live or showing up, really just popping up on a live, showing up for 4.5 seconds, not even in my comments section. They don't come to my Discord. They don't, whatever. They just judge me without knowing me, really knowing me. You know some facts about me from my WIP and chats or my channels, but you don't know anything about me. And I started going through and unsubscribing. And some of these people that I was subscribed to, like, they got me into the idea even of starting a YouTube. But I started listening harder. I started listening more closely, I should say. Because this mirror, right? This card is talking about, the mirror that I'm holding up to myself based on others' perceptions of me. It was a cloudy mirror. It was a very dingy mirror. It was reflecting something that I really am not. Now granted, without hearing anything from the horse's mouth myself, without hearing these people say things myself, can I be sure they said these things? No, I can't. I can't be sure that they said anything derogatory about me or rude or whatever. I can't know. I can't know. Unless they tell me, which oftentimes when people have things to say behind your back, they're certainly not going to try and say them to your face. Like, that's not generally the thing. Most often, if somebody's going to say something about you, they're going to say it behind your back, and it's never meant for you to hear, right? So I started unsubscribing to people that, after listening carefully, paying attention to the types of things that these people would say about others on their channel, or even about themselves, their own families, their spouses, their children, the way that they nonchalantly throw words around, the way that they nonchalantly throw apologies around. I needed to unsubscribe to that altogether, because it's funny how when you say something publicly, right, and then later get called out for it, that you would backpedal or whatever. But then things that you've said in conversations with others that you don't, because it was behind closed doors, that you don't, it's just, I don't know. It's interesting to me that, you know, you would, speak of others publicly or behind closed doors or whatever, and the things that you said publicly you'll atone for or whatever, but the things that you said behind closed doors that were probably worse in some instances, uh nothing to say about that. It's whatever. But that being said, after listening to other creators and really paying attention to what they say, how they say it, who they're talking about, and really listening for that that spark of genuine that I've been seeking, I've been searching for my whole freaking life in my relationships. Really listening for that genuine honesty, that you're not going to just give me surface, because I'm not putting out surface. I am putting out vulnerability and healing, or I'm trying to, for myself, for others, for pushes in my sobriety. Like, I needed to really take a look at how a person's general demeanor made me feel. Does it make me feel like that person would be safe in most circumstances and situations? Is this person ever going to be a friend? No, that's not to say that every creator that I listen to that I'm friends with, that's not even close. But I tend toward a channel where I know that the person who is speaking is being genuine. I've run into far too many times where I take someone at their word, right? That a product is good, or that that a book is good, whatever it happens to be. I take them at their word for it, and I try the thing, and I'm like, what the hell? In some instances, I'm like, this is not the experience you've been describing this whole time. And then I start to get distrustful of those people. It's like, if you can't be genuine and just say outright, like, I'm saying this because I'm affiliated or whatever, I don't know, man. I have a very hard time with dishonesty. It does not make me feel safe. And then on top of that, then when I'm speaking with that person, or when that person is speaking, I am studying every word that comes out of their mouths. Do you guys do that? Where it's like, you don't trust somebody, and so you analyze everything that comes out of their mouth. And then it's like, you almost can't concentrate on the words necessarily. You're concentrating on the feeling that you're getting from those words. And then you're like trying to make some, okay, maybe this is an autism problem. It could be, where I am analyzing so freaking hard because I'm looking for that nugget of truth. I'm looking for that spark, that connection, that that glow of I care about you and I genuinely want to see you succeed. I can feel it from certain people, creators specifically, where it's like, ooh, I don't know if I can trust you, because I feel even in their words just disingenuous. That's the word. If they feel disingenuous, I have just turned it off. I can't the energy of it, it drains me. It drains me to analyze that person and try to determine if what they're saying is the truth. Now, I mean, and I'm not just talking about in this community of content creators. I'm talking all content creators. Like, if I can't find that spark of genuine, I have entertainment, plenty of entertainment that I can watch, where I know when I'm sitting down to watch a movie that I'm going to be told a story by people who are being paid to essentially lie to me. Totally fine. Actors and actresses, right? You know what you're getting when you watch a movie or a television show, at least, not a documentary, that person is depicting a character. I have cut out content creators that are depicting a character. I don't need a character. If I'm looking for something, I need to feel and see and experience a spark of humanity and not disingenuous. I have no time for it. And I think because of the way that I experience social relationships, that I have to know that a person is being genuine, because I can't necessarily read the rest. Like, I have to get a feeling about a person, and then I'm like, okay, I can smell what you're stepping in. We're coming from the same place, or I know that you feel like the genuine article. Like, the difference between when you touch suede and that faux suede. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell by touch. There's other ways, smell and whatever. Well, I can't rely on any of those senses. I am not in front of these people. All I have to go off of is their words. And I have to get that feeling, that spark that says, you sound like a real person. Like, you are being genuine. That you're not putting on a sing-songy voice when you're speaking, or that you're not telling me that something is great when you know in your heart of hearts that you struggled with whatever it is. That you are not that you're not blowing smoke up my ass because I don't have time for it. I don't have energy for it. And I don't feel safe around it. And so that was one thing that I did do this week. I went and I hit unsubscribe on a lot of stuff. I really just narrowed down what I felt like I could feel a spark of genuine. And if I can't, and if I don't feel like I can get to know you, and I don't have to know you, but I have to feel like I can get a sense for who you are, then I hit unsubscribe. Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody genuine and who seems like if I really, took the time and I reached out and I was like, hey, I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but you seem real cool. Would you be interested in having a conversation about XYZ? If that person seems like they are completely untouchable, unreachable, like they're just too cool for school or whatever, bye. I can't deal with that. I dealt with enough of that feeling inadequate all throughout the rest of my life. I don't need to add that to my adult life as well. So bye to them. If I feel like, if I really had a question or I needed help with something, or I wanted to play with you and, offer up a challenge, a fun challenge or something, and you'd give me the cold shoulder, bye, later. If somebody comes off as too good for me, bye, see you later. I am so done feeling inadequate. I am so done feeling less than, because I let that eat me up and feel unsafe. And I had to get rid of it. I had to release that negativity and stop, I don't want to say hero worshiping some of these channels, but in some instances, they were people that I really initially looked up to, got a kind of chilly reception from, or conversely heard from others that they were talking mad shit about me and my addiction issues and my channel, and whether or not it's true, I get a feeling from people, and I felt like they wouldn't give me the time of day anyways. So whether it's true or not, I'm just cutting it out so I don't even have to think about it. I'm making my own thing. I'm not making their thing. And so I just took it off the table. I took that feeling out of my life because it was making me feel both unsafe, and I feel like in some senses I overanalyze when someone says something to me or about me, and I'm like, that's not true. And then it says, what exactly did it say? It said, where is it? It says, if someone says you are better or simply different than you think you are, don't automatically reject this. Think it over carefully. Holy shit. I've spent my whole life thinking it over. I have spent the better part of my teenage and young adult years fretting about it, that what others think of me must be true simply because others say it is. I can't live that way, guys. I can't. I think it over too carefully. I overanalyze it, and then I internalize it, and I let it eat me up. Because, that whole perception is reality. Well, it is for that person. Their perception is their reality. It doesn't mean that it is reality, but it's their reality. And I certainly don't want to be, I don't want to feature in someone else's reality as, one, a shitty person, and two, I don't want to feel like someone is speaking on me when they don't know anything about me. Not really. Just the shit I say and share on here, that's not knowing me. It's knowing me, yeah, but it's not really knowing me. It's not having a conversation with me or giving me a chance to really present who I am. And honestly, maybe for some of those people, they get that same feeling from me, that I am somehow not genuine, or that I'm posing, or that I'm trying too hard, or whatever. And that's okay. I'm not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm all right with that. I'm not all right with that. I'm a liar, but I have to be all right with that. I want people to like me. Oh, desperately, I want people to like me. But I can't let another person's opinion of me break me down, because ultimately that's what it does. It's what it does to all of us. You know, we allow someone's words to dig so deep. And I'll tell you, all the mean crap that people can say about me, trust and believe I've said worse about myself. But that's what I feel like it's been my kind of journey lately. And so I'm really going to focus on listening carefully when someone else says something to me that is about me, to really think carefully on it. Did they mean me harm? Did they say something that they were well intentioned and maybe I just didn't take it that way? But I will think on it carefully, but I will process it a little differently. I will not try to see it as an automatic attack on my person or whatever, and really analyze what were they maybe trying to say. I will do that this week. And I'll let you know if anything interesting comes of it when we meet again next week. But let me know in the comments, how do you deal with that when someone says something to you or about you? Do you automatically reject it as incorrect? Do you internalize it like I do and fret on it? Or do you just think on it carefully and say, hey, that's their opinion, but maybe I could fix this, or maybe I could change that, whatever. Let me know if I hope some of this did something for one of you guys. I know it always helps me to talk out this sort of stuff and process it. It's not meant to create any drama or whatever. It's just a way for me to talk through what's in my head. And you know, maybe in seeing some of these things in or for yourself, it helps you process as well. But as ever, you guys, I hope that you have had a good hour with me, that you got whatever you were working on worked on, or that, you know, you enjoyed listening at any rate. As ever, you guys, I thank you for subscribing, clicking that like button, and commenting. It always helps with the algorithm. And then finally, thank you once more to my members. If you would like to join my members channel, my membership portion, if you go to my main channel, there should be a join button that pops up when you get to like my homepage or whatever. And, you know, consider joining members. Otherwise, you guys, I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, that you are having a fantastical morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Until next week, I will see you again, hopefully soon. Have a beautiful week, you guys. Bye-bye.